And you've just heard Unwind, the recent single by Supermann on the Beat with Empress MC. And I'm so pleased to be joined by Supermann on the Beat himself, Sanjeev Mann. Hello, Sanjeev.
Hiya, how you doing?
I'm really well, and thanks for taking the time to have a chat. Can you tell us about Unwind and working with Empress MC?
Yeah, sure. So Unwind, I think I made the beat a good year and a half ago, I think. So it's quite a while ago, but as you know, a lot of my music tends to be usually quite dark, kind of quite dark, and there's a lot of sort of grunge elements, but this one I decided to keep it a bit more kind of light and probably a bit more mainstream. So that's probably why it's had a little bit kind of more coverage on radio, stuff like that. And in terms of working with Impress, yeah, like as soon as she heard the beat, she let me know. She was like, I need to use this. She really loved the kind of energy of it. So yeah, it was really good. And obviously she's like a legend in the Scottish rap scene. So it was a pleasure to work with. Yeah, such a great artist. Yeah.
So we had her on a podcast, a spoken word podcast that I did earlier in the year, and she was just fantastic. You know, she was able to. I asked her, could you give us a bit of rap, and she was able to do it straight away. Fantastic. And
yeah,
you like collaborating, don't you? I mean, you do collaborate with a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I like to do as a producer. I like to collaborate with as many different artists as possible, like across different styles. And I think the remix that's coming out actually kind of shows the kind of how many genres are sort of like to cross over. And towards the end of the year, I've got a lot more remixes coming out with a lot of probably unexpected artists that nobody's really expected. So yeah.
So this is remix of other people's stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of starting to do it. Obviously, this is the first one that's coming out, but yeah, I'm starting to remix a lot of kind of different artists, a lot of like rock bands, a lot of like rock artists. I'm trying to sort of do more in those scenes. So yeah, I'm just trying to kind of get my name out there a bit more across Scotland, I guess, not just like the hip hop scene. So
is this the remix of Capel's track, Rupture the Wheel, that we're talking about?
Yeah. So that's probably one of the first ones that's releasing anyway. So I'm really excited about it. It's just really cool to collaborate with like an artist like Capel that I've always sort of listened to and kind of looked up to. So I was like, I was so happy about it when he was like, do you want to remix it? And obviously then I got other people involved as well, like MC Salem and also Random Brown Kid have also got verses on the track. So it's a real combination of like rap, synth, and like kind of rock elements as well. So yeah, it's a really exciting track that I'm looking forward to releasing.
And we'll hear that after we stop our conversation, so people can hear that for themselves. But that's one of the things about your music is your influences are often kind of unexpected. You know, you do like rock music and things like that.
Yeah, I've got a lot of kind of different influences, and I listen to like a lot of music. And there's also like a lot of sort of Indian influences here and there as well, with like tabla and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of different influences, and I grew up listening to like metal as well, like metal and kind of emo music. So yeah, you can definitely hear that in a lot of my tracks.
Yeah, I think you said to me previously that your favourite band is Nirvana.
Yeah, Nirvana is like probably my biggest inspiration to most of the music, I guess. There's a lot of beats there that they're not out yet, but they're kind of like Nirvana crossed with like drill. So it's quite a combination. I always like using sort of grunge riffs and a lot of my beats. So yeah, well, that's to come though. A lot of people they'll hear that soon.
And I mean, I think we've already seen by what you're talking about how many releases you're going to have out and remixing other people's work. But I think of you as one of the busiest people in Scottish music. Can you tell listeners about all the organisations and all the other things you're involved in?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I run a platform called Hip Hop Scotland. I don't know if people are aware of that, but yeah, we do a lot of monthly shows at Nice and Sleazy's actually. It's the third Sunday of every month. So if you want some local hip hop talent, then definitely come along to that. And we also have a podcast as well that releases every 2 weeks. I'm also involved with Drake Music Scotland, a really great charity doing a lot of great work for disabled artists around Scotland. So they're kind of the two people that I'm mainly sort of involved in. And that kind of goes nicely onto my petition actually that I released
Yeah, if you
last
could
week.
tell people about it and how they can get involved.
Yeah. So yeah, I decided to start a petition focusing on accessibility in venues, because in Glasgow's kind of what I've been focusing on, but it's a problem sort of everywhere. I sort of noticed as I started to go to kind of local gigs in the local scene that a lot of these venues just aren't accessible, and the venues that are accessible don't have accessible stages. So that's obviously a real problem, as you can imagine, for disabled artists that are looking to kind of do local shows and sort of build a bit of momentum. Obviously, it's quite difficult for artists to do that. And if you think about, there's so many artists like Ed Sheeran, for example, who started sort of in the London circuit and sort of built from there. So we kind of need the same for disabled artists.
Yeah, because these smaller venues are really the kind of lifeblood of the music industry in a way. You know, that's where people get their first gigs, or they get the opportunity to try out live music and maybe meet other people that they then collaborate with. And it's really problematic if the kind of basic access isn't there.
Yeah, exactly. It's a real problem. As you said, even like networking and just sort of get to know people in the local scene. Like local venues are really vital for that, and local shows, sort of getting to know the local people is so important for like your music career. And yeah, it's a real issue, especially when like there's a reason why you can't name many disabled artists. Like it's because of these sorts of issues where, like, if you can't sort of build like from smaller venues, then it's quite difficult to sort of convert that into like a successful artist. So,
and the solution, I'm guessing, is not always a really expensive one. You know, there are kind of, if people just think out the box, and you say that you're doing nights in Nice and Sleazy's, and a lot of people think, well, that's not particularly accessible because usually the gigs are downstairs, but they've worked around that.
Exactly. Like sometimes, like, of course, I acknowledge sometimes that, yeah, it is quite an expense, but sometimes it's just a case of like a little ramp or kind of working around it. So, for example, Nice and Sleazy's, like, they approached me to do the gig and they were like, obviously it was not accessible. So I was like, can we kind of work around it? And they were really happy to sort of find a work away, and we ended up doing it in the bar area upstairs. So a lot of the time it's not just physical accessibility. It's just like the attitude, I feel like, towards disabled people as a whole. And Sleazy's is a good example of kind of thinking of a work away and not thinking of it as like a negative, but just finding a different way to do it. And I think that's just like what a lot of disabled people need to do. Like we find other ways to do things. It's not necessarily a bad thing. So yeah.
And how can people sign the petition and find out more about it?
Yeah, so you can sign it if you go into my social media, like Instagram, which is Ask Supermann, and my Twitter, which is Ask Sanjeev. You'll be able to sign it there as well. So yeah, if you want to, I'm sure it's an issue that a lot of people probably aren't going to disagree with. So we just need to kind of keep the momentum going and get people signed it to hopefully make change, I guess. So that's what the aim is.
And I think that's a really relevant point. It's, as much as it might be about possibly getting funding to make changes, it's about raising awareness as well. I know book festivals, there's now guides to how they can make things more accessible across the board for performers and for the audience and for people who work there, and all, you know, so many different things. That the awareness is as important as anything. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. I think like with the aim of the petition, like I think the real aim was to bring awareness and to get people to think about the issue that they wouldn't necessarily have thought about. So people that like aren't disabled, for example, or just like venue owners, if they like have never thought about it. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of get people talking about the issue, just so more people kind of know about it. And I think that's always the first step to improving things, is just get people to know about it.
And since you've started it, you've had, it seems to me, really kind of good response? I've seen you on the telly, you've been on the radio. Is that what you found?
Yeah, there's been a really good response. I've been really pleased about that. Just like media outlets that are keen to share it and talk about it, which is it's really refreshing to see. And I think the aim as well was just to get people talking in kind of mainstream audiences. And I think I sort of did that with BBC Radio Scotland picking it up, and also STV who did a package on it. So yeah, I just want to be more in the mainstream sort of media, just to get everybody talking about it, and not just like disabled people should be talking about it. Like I think everybody should like do their thing to help push it forward, because like it can affect anybody at any time.
No,
So
absolutely.
like it's not something that is only affecting some people. Like it's going to affect all of us at some stage. So
yeah. And what do you have hopes for an outcome, or is it's actually just the beginning of it? You know, is that just almost a quota in itself?
So the outcome of it, the actual petition was asking the government to provide funding to help venues to make them accessible. And when I say fully accessible, I mean like the bar area, toilets, and stages. Because as I mentioned earlier, that's quite a big issue. But I think that's like the end aim for it. But I don't think it's going to happen like with the petition. I think petition will be the first step towards it. The end goal is obviously for that to happen. But I think the awareness is a good first step, and if it's in kind of people's minds, then hopefully there's more chance that we can keep pushing forward.
Well, I think, everyone listening, get over there and sign it, because, as you say, how could you possibly disagree with it? So, go back to your music. You've spoken about the remix. It's coming out of Capel Sesha's Rupture the Wheel. What else are you going to be releasing? Have you got plans for other stuff in the year?
Yeah. So I'm planning a release every month, actually.
Wow.
So that's the aim for this year, across kind of rock, hip hop, and kind of EDM and other bits and bobs as well. So it's going to be a really exciting year. I've got some really big collabs that I'll be announcing very soon. Then I've also got a lot of gigs coming up. I've got my first headline actually is
brilliant,
on the 1st of February, part of Amplify through We Are Here Scotland. So really excited about that. And then we've got a gig on the 8th, which is I'm supporting Grim Sickers, who's like February. So February the 8th. He's a pretty known like grime artist, so I'm really looking forward to that. It's probably kind of the biggest gig that I've done so far, so looking forward to that. And obviously the rest of Hip Hop Scotland, we've got a lot of plans for this year as well. So there's a lot happening, so I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be fun.
And just before we play your remix of Rupture the Wheel, can you remind us who else is on it? Because there's quite a few people. I'll be remixing the track Rupture the Wheel. So that's coming out, or will be out by now. And on the track, we've got MC Salem, who a lot of you might know. He's a really cool rapper from Dundee. He's really doing really good things right now. There's also Random Brown Kid, who's a really good friend of mine. And he's making some really great music at the moment. And his other single actually came out on the 26th. So make sure you go and check that out. And then we've also got, from the original track, a verse from their anti-group, who are who's like a Punjabi rap group. So one of the guys from them has done a verse on it, so that's really cool. It's crossing a lot of boundaries of language, and like 3-4 different genres all mashed up. So it's a really cool release, and I think it really shows kind of my different influences. If it was in one track that I would show somebody like my influences, it would probably be that. So it's a really cool track, so make sure you go and check it out. And we will be performing it actually on the 1st as well. So well, I'm really looking forward to play it so people can hear it for themselves. But before I do, Sanjeev, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me.
No problem, really appreciate it. It was platforms like this that's really supporting a lot of artists, so thank you. Thanks a lot.
And this is the Superman on the Beat remix of Capo Hae's Rupture the Wheel.